Hey, this is We Kalled It. Once again, Connor too busy from work, so you just have Dr. Kenneth Call and me, Phillip, coming on, telling you all about football. Ken, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm better now that I appreciate you bringing back the doctor part in my name. It is there.
I'm
But
mad because, I have, I'm credentialed in something too, but I can't say Phillip Kall Actuary because that's not how people refer to themselves, and no one knows what they are anyway.
I'm excited because at the end here, Phil's letting me talk about sports injuries, things that I get excited for and nobody else does.
Yeah, correct. Because no one else gets happy when someone else gets hurt. Anyways, so again, Connor's not here. We are going to have an opportunity to talk about what happened last week, our takeaways before we get into our picks. We also have a brand new ChatGPT/Gemini designed summary of matchups that we'll be able to share as we talk. So very exciting. Before all that, though, as viewership has gone up, we have brought back the JJ Watt rookie card giveaway.
There it
I
is.
am not sure what the value of this anymore, but last time I checked, it was somewhere between $80 and $100. Please subscribe. When at 100 subscribers, someone will receive it. Don't know who. That's the exciting part.
It's got a cool order on it, and you can read it says JJ Watt. Pretty awesome.
All right. So before we get into our picks, again, highlighting our takeaways from last week in football, starting off with Thursday night football. This is a high level talk, but man, is the NFC West just one of the most exciting divisions to see. All the teams are about equal. They all play each other well. The 49ers have lost half their team, and they're first in the division at 4-1. The Seahawks and Rams are playing great football, but not good enough at 3-2. And then the Cardinals, you can't miss those games. Always exciting, always screwing up. They almost blew it against the Panthers. They almost blew it against the Saints, and they full on go and do it. They blow it against the Titans with 3 of the worst plays in the NFL. So, Ken, your thoughts on the NFC West?
Well, I will say that last week from one of my teasers and needing the Cardinals just to win. And when they were up 21-6 and should have been 28-6 in the fourth quarter, it looked pretty good. I don't like that you put in the Cardinals with the rest of them because we were wrong about the Seahawks. They look as legitimate as anybody else. I mean, they had a great game against the Buccaneers, really came down to the end because that's how all Buccaneers games end. But Sam Darnold, I was full on pumpkin Sam Darnold mode, and it's just not there. I mean, that offense, looks decent. The defense is really what's going to carry that team. But, a lot of just fun games to watch there. Completely agree. It's hey, what's going to happen? Are they going to get healthy? If they're going to get healthy, I mean, missing half their offense, they're like, oh, Kendrick Bourne, do you remember him? Because he looked really good here like 3 years ago, and out of nowhere, he's just going to completely kill it. Mac Jones, I got to tell you, there's the one injury he laid on the ground like he had torn an ACL or something. Like I thought he was completely done at some point. He's playing on a PCL strain, and it was a cramp. He was back in next series just fine. It was just cramping, and I was over there like, wow.
I do love later in that game, end of the fourth quarter, he's stumbling around with a legit injury, throwing dimes all over the field to get the game-winning score. But the cramp is the one. It's like, all right, guys, I can't handle this.
I was like, wow, this dude's so tough. And then I saw him crying on the ground because of a cramp. Man. Either way, he looked good there. No, I don't like the comparisons between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is way better than Mac Jones, but Mac Jones has shown that he is a very viable backup in the league. But they're just fun to watch, all around. No, definitely.
So let's do this then.
There.
Before we move on from the NFC West, right now, 49ers 4-1, Rams 3-2. Seahawks 3-2, Cardinals 2-3. Who do you have to win the division?
Rams have had 2 heartbreakers, man. Really, they completely outplayed the Eagles and got a loss. And then that Thursday night game, intra-division battle, crazy things happen. I still think that the Rams are the team to beat. They're primarily because despite the 49ers playing well with the injuries, they're still very injured. So I don't know how they're gonna, come back. And Christian McCaffrey, I'm sorry, we're all still just holding our breath. He can't get the ball 30 times a game and last all year. I just, I can't see that happening. So, no, I definitely like the Rams. I mean, Stafford, hey guys, those whole the back injury at the beginning of the year. No, he's looking fine. Puka Nacua, I love the stat. Did you see it? That the 2 best wide receivers seasons of all time so far are Calvin Johnson with Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp with Matt Stafford. And on its way so far is Puka Nacua this year with Matt Stafford. But they're looking good. Kyron Williams is just doing his thing, looking like he can't get 6 yards, and he does on these runs. I just think that they've showed the most, and I like to watch them the most too. So
Yeah.
that's my
So
team.
I'm with you. I like, you got to be. I wish I could pick someone else and like have a debate, but it's like they've looked the best. Their defense, they have Jared Verse, who's just a monster, and someone else, I can't remember their other edge rusher. But then on the offense, you have Devontae Adams as the complement to Puka Nacua, which, Adams was silent all game against the 49ers, and like, oh yeah, clutch time, we're just going to feed this guy who has one-on-one coverage right now and just let him do his thing. People forget about him, and it absolutely works. And then when you focus on Adams and Nacua, Tutu Atwell runs sprinting by you at full speed, and you can't catch up. So just so many things, and Stafford's fantastic. I wish Sean McVay was a better close game coach, though. I don't know what it is. There's so many coaches like this. Kyle Shanahan's one, and we love him, but it's like, when the game's close, you can't trust these guys to make the right decisions and get those close wins all the times. Like, I don't know why Stafford didn't have the ball in his hand more, and Kyron Williams caught like 2 rough plays. Anders played them great. That was a great strip at the goal line and a great 4th and 1 stop. But I'm with you. In the long haul, I can't see the 49ers continuing just to fight out these victories in tough, gritty football fashion. And then the Rams, they might blow a couple more, but it's hard to see them not outplaying people. So next thing we're going to talk about, I have Sam Hoppin on Twitter. If you follow him, makes some solid graphics. Here's one I was telling Ken about. This is like essentially how well do your quarterbacks do when they're forced to throw. And I bring it up now because Brock Purdy right here at number 2, when you know he's throwing, he's one of the best in the league. Mac Jones, good, but not nearly as close. And then transitioning to the Browns and the trade of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, by far the worst. Like, Jake Browning and Cam Ward don't even exist. That's how bad Flacco has been. So now Flacco is a Bengal, likely going to replace Browning this week. And the Browns are left with Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders for the rest of the year. Ken, as a Browns fan, what's your takeaway on that?
Well, my first thought on that graph right there is, does it really put into account the fact that your receivers cannot get any separation, drop the ball, and you don't have much of an O-line? Your tackles are just gone? Because that's what the Browns are dealing with. And it's more the Brown symbol at the bottom than Joe Flacco. But we'll see how he does. Honestly, I hope to God we can get some fireworks in Cincinnati with him. Because the one thing that he wasn't really missing was strength on his throws, and he can still whip the ball downfield. Maybe this is a positive sign for T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, or at least not a negative sign, because it's been looking pretty rough. But no, I mean, Dylan Gabriel, he looked like a guy where they're like, hey, we're not going to feed you to Brian Flores's crazy blitz schemes. Like, you're going to get the ball out immediately. I just wasn't a huge fan of starting him on a short week internationally. Short week because of the travel. I mean, against Brian Flores, who's like, I'm going to give you some crazy looks that you're not going to be able to read because you're a rookie. Not a good start. You could tell they were like ultra conservative. He only had 5 completions to receivers, and I think 3 of them were in the 2-minute warning going into halftime. So if that just tells you, I mean, he's just dinking and dunking to the tight end, throwing to the running back, and it looks so limited. It looks like, hey, I'm trying to avoid playing a quarterback. So hoping to see more of him this week. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. So my thought is, and I sent it in our group chat, but Dylan Gabriel is value store Tua. Like, if he's operating less than 10-yard throws, less than 2.5-second throws, he is he's very, very good at reading a defense, knowing where he should go, and getting the ball on time and in rhythm. The problem is any slight hiccups, and he can't throw the ball down the field. He's not as mobile. He's not as big. So when he gets grabbed, he's going down quickly. Those are my concerns with Gabriel. My concerns with Shador is just that he's not very good at football. And the bottom line is, we're looking at these quarterbacks across the league where you have quarterbacks moving on to new situations after being first round picks and being reclamation projects. And I know everyone's like down on their Baker luck in Cleveland. And it's like, you need to remember Baker went from Cleveland to Carolina to Los Angeles to Tampa Bay on a 1-year, $4 million contract before erupting. So with all that path for Baker laid out, and then you see the success of Darnold, who had a journeyman's life, Daniel Jones, who's having success after a journeyman's life, Mac Jones, who's starting to turn it around. We had Kenny Pickett on the roster. He could have been one of these journeymen who come out of nowhere and start playing real football. Are you happy with the Browns' approach to starting rookies instead of maybe trying to like mix and match where it's like, all right, give me a third rounder and a first round reclamation project and see if I can make this happen? Do you think or maybe that's a route maybe the Browns could take next year?
So real quick on these reclamation projects that are looking good, you have Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. You have Sam Darnold in Minnesota, then going to Seattle. And then you have Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Now, where those guys failed were the New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, and Carolina Panthers twice. Tell me what those 4 teams have in common.
They were the ones drafting the first quarterback.
They're always drafting the first quarterback. Those are perennial losers. And those have coaches that are on just the coaching carousel. You're getting no consistency. There is no type of like winning environment. There's no like locker room with an expectation of like winning or a good system. It's part of it where I think that having a good upper management and stable head coach really goes a very long way. And I mean, you saw it with Baker, he actually looked pretty good with Sean McVay and the Rams when he was, getting off the plane Tuesday and starting on a Thursday night and winning. Like that was a fun game to watch back then. But I think a lot of it has to do with where you're at, because if you're throwing these people, you're just throwing them in these situations. By that, I mean, crappy football cities or teams that just keep losing. They're not crappy football cities, but they're teams that keep losing. I think it's really easy to move on and kind of miss out on that talent. I do not think Baker would be in the MVP consideration if he was still in Cleveland. That is a big roundabout way of saying that those reclamation projects are not for every team.
All right. So money on the table right now. Carson Wentz is probably going to be available at the end of the year. You're not taking him?
I actually don't hate Carson Wentz. That's a bad one for me. But no, so Carson Wentz versus Joe Flacco versus Kenny Pickett versus Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, I'm picking Carson Wentz there. And I don't even think it's very close, but I don't think that that's very fair.
All right. So let's put a bow on this QB talk for 1 second. Last thought. When should the Vikes start JJ again? This is a combination of Dr. Hat Ken Call and football analyst opinion Ken Call.
So quarterbacks do not have the same like 4 to 6 week ramp up after a high ankle sprain that if you're like a wide receiver or running back, like constantly sprinting, that you need. JJ McCarthy is definitely better if he's mobile, but still, not necessary. If he was a 10-year vet, like if this was like Matt Stafford, he's playing. He misses 0 games. Dude just plays through these injuries. Also doesn't require tons of mobility. I mean, if he absolutely had to, he probably would have played last week. But the question is, you want him 100%. And also, I think you want him seeing a team that can actually function up and down the field. Because, besides one quarter against the Bears, I mean, he really did not look very good. So, having him like fully come back to recovery, I think this is a football decision. You're hiding him or behind an injury more so than this injury is holding him out from playing. So I think that when's their bye week?
Is it coming? These are questions.
It's this week.
Okay, yes, it is. So, I have Jordan Mason. It's very painful that it's this week.
Yeah, I think after the bye week, I think you can get him out, or even one more week. It depends who are they playing.
So this is rough. They go Eagles, Chargers, Lions the next 3 games.
I would not have them go against the Eagles. I think that they just eat up rookie quarterbacks. So just aggressive pass rush. I would say after that, the Chargers and Lions.
So I think I'm going to do the lazy hot hand theory on this, and I know Connor would scream at me. Uh, I would pull Wentz after he loses. He's gonna lose one of the next 3 games, right? I don't care if it's Eagles, Chargers, or Lions. If he loses to the Eagles, easy put him back in against the Chargers, and then it's like, all right, you're winning, keep going, Wentz. We'll pull you, and we'll just do this lazy thing to get the public not to hate us by saying, yeah, this guy's still hurt.
Now, do you remember when Ryan Fitzpatrick was there with Tua and he was clearly better, and they were putting Ryan Fitzpatrick in the fourth quarter after Tua played for 3 quarters, and it's like, no, wait, we need to win. I would avoid that at all costs. Like, I don't think that's good for anyone besides Ryan Fitzpatrick. But unfortunately, I do think that that's like a pretty fair comparison in what you got, where it's like, the truth is, Carson Wentz is not going to get you. I mean, best case scenario, he's getting you to the playoffs as a wild card team to get it completely wrecked. He's not your future. I don't think you can stick with him.
All right. So with that, we mentioned bringing up the Eagles as the Vikings' next opponent. They play this week, though, and they are playing the Giants on Thursday night. Sorry for that pause awkwardly. I just got to ask, what are the Eagles doing with the play calling? And I bring it up for last week, not even their Giants matchup. It's like, all they do is run the ball to the point where the receivers complain. Then they run the ball like 7 times, and all they do is throw the ball. It's like, this is one of the few instances where I think they just need to fire the OC and get it over with. Like, you're clearly not managing a game on a whole level basis, where, like, we always talk about Kyle Shanahan. What he runs in the first and second quarter sets up the fourth. And it's like the symphony of, we're working different parts of the field. We're targeting different things. We're setting up looks to happen. And I feel like right now the Eagles are playing Madden and are like, HB dive worked and we're winning, so we're going to run HB dive until they stop it or until we stop winning. And I hate it. The Eagles are a way better football team than what they're showing. I think they're fortunate to be 4-1. And yeah, who is it? I think the Chargers should have beat that. Or no, the Rams should have beat them.
Rams definitely
and
should have beat them.
The Chiefs should have beat them, actually, if it wasn't for a goal line pick, which we'll bring up later.
You can make the argument that the Cowboys week 1 should have beat them as well.
I don't agree with that one. F the Cowboys. I'm just kidding.
Until that Miles Sanders fumble. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, the Miles Sanders fumble. That's right. I guess after that huge play where he should have scored a touchdown, but he didn't slow down, but he got caught. Anyways, like, I just can't stand the Eagles. If you have nothing on that besides like agreement, we can just move on.
I mean, just quick. I'm happy they lost that game, because maybe it'll show them that they need to do something. And it's tough because they do have the best players on the field. Like, their offensive players are typically better than, who they're going against on defense. There is a lot of talent on their team, and they're just not, it's not meshing together, like the pass game looks kind of like jalopy put together. Saquon getting 6 carries, that's not it. And you can get away with it because your talent is just that good. But I think you need some of these losses just to be like, hey, we need to get this under control. I hate to agree with you about somebody getting fired 5 weeks into a season going 4-1, but I mean, it's really bad. Like, I mean, just all around. And it's tough to see because I love Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. It's like my favorite wide receiver duo.
Dallas Goedert, like, nice, viable tight end in addition.
Reliable.
All right. We have a couple more things we're going to talk about before we get into our picks. One, we're going to play a game is, are they better than the Cowboys? I just want to know your thoughts. I'll share my opinions as we go through this, because the Cowboys are coming out, I think, what are they now, 2-1?
Yep.
And
oh God, I hate the tie. The tie ruins all the
3-2 sounds great. 2-3 sounds terrible. Ask any fantasy owner. Like, anyone over 500's pumped. Under, you're miserable. I'm 2-3. If I was 3-2, I'd be so happy. All right, so I am pulling up the standings right now so I can make sure I get this in the right order. But number 1 on the list, Commanders. Are they better or worse than the Cowboys?
Commanders are better.
Vikings.
Vikings are better.
Packers.
I think it's a tie.
Okay.
Because they tied. No. Packers are better.
All right. Falcons.
Man, I'm going to pass on the Falcons because I just don't know what to make of them.
All right, that's interesting. So you essentially have, like, the teams that are 3-2 are better than the Cowboys, which is probably where I was. And then the Cowboys are in that Falcons Bears kind of grouping, which, yeah, I think I agree
No,
with all that.
they're better than those two. Yeah. Maybe
All right,
Falcons.
Giants. Giants with
Jeez,
Jackson
is that
Dart.
okay? No, they're better. The Cowboys for sure.
All right, and we'll do one more just in the AFC because I'm curious now. Houston Texans.
Texans over
You taking the
Cowboys.
Texans over the Cowboys?
Yeah.
I think I would pretty much agree with you on everything you said, which is annoying.
God,
we need Connor
you got to
here.
stop doing this. I know.
All right. Second last topic before we move on. Are the Bills legit after that embarrassing Sunday night performance? Like, let's be real. I'm not trying to be like insulting to like the Patriots, but I feel like the Bills should have dominated that game, and Drake May played probably one of the best primetime performances we've seen all year, maybe going into last year, throwing dimes left and right, and it was perfect. That falling down throw late in the fourth quarter was fantastic. So kudos to him. But you're the Bills. Like the Patriots are in the middle of a little bit of a rebuild. They can't figure out who to play because play at running back. It's extremely unnerving for all
I think they
fantasy
have
owners.
figured it out. I think the fantasy owners are mad, but I think they've figured it out.
They figured it out. Don't play Travion Henderson. I agree. It's like they're turning the ball over nonstop, and you can't capitalize. You're supposed to be the regular season champs year after year. Of course, but just anyways, do you think the Bills are legit title contenders now that the Ravens are, a similar IR sheet to the 49ers?
I'm worried that the Bills are just playing like the big games, like that Ravens game looked really good. And then we're kind of realizing that the Ravens didn't have much of a defense. And then besides that, I just think that the defense for the Bills has just looked suspect this whole year so far. It's hard. I don't know like what to make of it, but the truth is it's like you have Josh Allen who can keep you in any game. Chalk it up to, hey, they haven't looked good recently. And yes, that's their funky divisional loss that they have every year. And the Patriots have had their number a couple times, even no matter how bad the Patriots have looked. So, no, I'm not really like counting them out. I still think that they're still, top of the AFC and still like perennial contenders.
I will say you and Connor both called it last week. That was the Vrabel game. So excellent pick there. And then lastly, I put F the Jags. Everyone knows that we were all on the Chiefs last week, and the Jags are coming out. They have 14 turnovers this year, which is 5 more than they have last year. They lead the NFL in turnovers, and they had a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown to completely flip the game and the script and how everything was going. Not only that, they score a touchdown late because it was the scene from The Water Boy where Coach Klein's watching football and the guy drops the ball. He's like, oh, he drops the ball off. Oh, now he has time to pick it up and dust it off before he finishes running in for an end zone for our team even knows what happened. Like, it was just absolutely humiliating that is the last play for Trevor Lawrence. I wish Anthony, our audio master, was here to, get that clip covered the way I wanted to have it dubbed. Unfortunately, it's not. So anyways, I'm just on F the Jags and ruining what was going to be a wonderful Monday night for me.
The frustrating part is the Jags offense still looks suspect throughout the entire game. The difference is Trevor Lawrence, he does throw like 5 really, really good passes a game, like really good. But then everything else is suspect. And Travis Etienne, he looks good. He looks, very viable out there. But besides that, I don't think the defense looks good. They're getting these opportunistic like turnovers, like you're saying. 14 in 5 games is insane. And their losses to the Bengals, their losses to Jake Browning. Like, what happened? No, I can't say that they're legit. I just think that they are going to ruin people's days sometimes. So let them have the Monday night in early October victory.
Since we have a couple minutes, we were trying to get this done before the halfway mark. Cardinals had 3 historically bad plays, in my opinion. Well, not historically. I think there's one that's slightly better than the other 2. 3 terrible plays last week. I think we should rank them in terms of how bad they were. So the first one is, this is probably the least egregious. Kyler Murray gets a ball snapped at his face, doesn't catch it, doesn't jump on it, and then the Titans recover it in Titans territory, and then Kyler Murray checks out with a concussion. I don't think he got hit on the play. He literally just had the ball hit him in the head, and then he checked out for a concussion. He's not Tua, so I don't think it was that bad. And then there was the Kyler Murray, the Cam Ward interception that the Cardinals caught and then fumbled, which was recovered in the end zone by Tyler Lockett to score a touchdown. And the infamous Amari DiMercato, who dropped the ball at the 1 yard line, and his coach was so angry at him that he screamed and got fined $100,000 for verbally abusing his player.
I didn't see that, but really?
Yep.
I think that they should fine DiMercato $100,000 and give it back to the coach. Wow, I didn't see that part. Man.
Yeah, I know, it really adds to like the spice of how bad this play was.
All right, so real quick, I'm not sure. So Kyler did hurt his foot, which really is awful for the Cardinals and Kyler because, I mean, let's face it, like without his legs, he is like a subpar quarterback. You know, he does make some like magic with elongating plays, but I get really cautious for people who need to move and foot injuries. I'm not a fan of them. They take a long time to heal. And anytime you're cutting and sprinting, it's a lot of stress and pressure on your, like just the bottom of your foot. So I don't know. I see foot sprain. That could mean so many like different things, but I'm not sure if that the injury was actually like an evaluation for concussion or if it was like looking at like this like ankle or foot injury that he had. I know that he definitely wasn't the same afterwards. I do think it was more the mobility than a concussion. I don't think you're getting a concussion, you're getting hit in a helmet with a ball. So that's number 3.
In my defense, I thought the play was funnier because it was a football being blamed for a concussion, which
I mean,
I know
it's
brain
funnier,
injuries aren't supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But
and, you know, if it's Justin Herbert back there that hits him in the low chest, you know, knocks the wind out of him for a minute. Number 2 is the DiMercato one for sure. And that's just because it's overplayed at this point. We see it now. I mean, this is like the 3rd time in the last 2 years. And Deshaun Jackson did it the best. So, yes, it was a big play and it was a big turning point, but we've seen it before. Number 1 is definitely an INT for a touchdown because, man, you just don't see it, man. And it like such like a turn, like that was it. That was it. It went from icing the game to no, they're back in it times 100. You know, I could have absolutely seen them calling that just an incomplete pass, and I would have been just fine with it. But no, man, that is the worst luck, just trash play. That's the most disheartening thing. Like, I get your team just getting a loss after that one.
Yeah, I feel I'm with you where it's, to your point, it's like last week we had Adonde Mitchell drop the ball at the 1 and get screamed at. And I think that makes it worse for DiMercato, though, where it's like, yes, just watch someone do it. Everyone in the NFL had to be like, guys, let's not be idiots. And if you're not, that's on the coaching staff. So maybe like, I can't even think of the Cardinals coach's name. I just know I don't like him. Like maybe he's screaming at DiMercato because he's like, dude, I should have told you. We just watched someone else do this. But it's so much worse when you get the game-winning play and then you give it back to the other team and in the end zone.
I also think that one was close enough where, like, if they called it a touchdown, like, I wouldn't have, like, thought anything of it. But it's just like, no, for this being the play, you give them the fumble. That's what I think.
I also love Twitter's response to all this, or X's response to all this, because, right, everyone's furious. Survivor pools, you with teasers. Like, how could they, like, this is ridiculous. The Cardinals, blew it with 3 mind-blowing plays. They couldn't, if they did 1 or 2, they win the game, but I had to take all 3 to completely choke the game away. So just that little spice on top of everything. All right. That is enough of talking about what has happened in the past. Now it's time to forecast into the future, I think.
Talk about the future.
Prognosticate, is that a word?
Too big for us, but yeah, too big for our viewers for sure. No offense, Nate.
I'm math good, not word. All right. So
only good happen.
Me money now. Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's get to it. Picks of the week. So after they scorned me last week with a choked fourth quarter, you and I are both on the Seahawks against the Jaguars +1.5, but you have them marked as the best bet. So I'll let you talk first.
So I think that this is just simply a good spot for the Seahawks. I mean, they're coming off of a rough loss, but their offense looked good. Sam Darnold looked so good. Yeah, Jags are probably maybe they'll get another lucky turnover, but I think that the Seahawks defense is better than what the Chiefs have put out. The Chiefs defense definitely regressed a little bit, but I think they'll be able to slow down Travis Etienne and force Trevor Lawrence to have to do something. That's when the Jags look bad. So I think that between that and then the Jags playing like a tight game that honestly they should have lost, on Monday night, it's just a spot where they're just a little like overhyped a bit. I think that it should be flipped. I think that the Jaguars should be getting 1.5 points, not the Seahawks. So this is one I could see going quite a bit the other way. I could see the Seahawks winning by a touchdown. This is just classic. Hey, the Jags are not a 4-1 team, and they won't be after this. They'll be 4-2.
So again, not best bet, but I'll give my take since we're talking about this. 100% agree that I don't know what happened to the Seahawks defense last week, and it was just Emeka Ibuka wrecking them and making them look foolish. That's my only conclusion. And the problem with stud receivers like that is they really do break game plans. And yeah, the Seahawks have one on their side of the field too, JSN. And I think the Jags have built a very good defensive scheme. Like I mentioned, they lead the league in turnovers for a reason. They have a couple good corners. Jordan Lewis has been playing very well, and Tyson Campbell has been giving receivers fits. The problem is when you're trusting those guys and your scheme depends on them winning, like now they're going up against JSN and they're just not going to win. You're going to put Travis Hunter on him and like he's not going to win. Like no one's stopping JSN one-on-one. So now you have to dedicate more resources to it, and it's just going to cause problems for the rest of your like defensive scheme. Cooper Kupp has been a very nice tight end-esque option. And then Horton. He has started to pop. He had the late fourth quarter touchdown for the Seahawks against the Buccaneers that got them ahead before Baker came back and scored also.
Does he have like 2 or 3 touchdowns on the year? I think he's been good around the goal line.
I think he has 3 touchdowns. Yeah. He has 3 in the last 4 weeks. So he's been absolutely someone who's been playing well, and he gives them the vertical aspect. So if Darnold, if the Jaguars start being aggressive, start trying to jump things, Horton will be the one making them pay with a deep route. And then, of course, fantasy owners hate it, but between the 20s, Ken Walker has been absolutely fantastic at creating yards, just in general, before, after contact, finding right spaces. He's PFF's #1 graded running back. And then they have Charbonnet, who's a little bit bigger, a little bit better with the ball to punch it in. So I'm just absolutely loving everything the Seahawks are doing, actually. And I think their defense bounces back. I think Mike McDonald is way too good of coach to be just outplayed 2 weeks in a row. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a guy who's going to fall for some of the schematics that McDonald will draw up to, disguise coverages. So I'm excited for this one. It wasn't my best bet, but it was one of them. So following up with my actual pick, I'm kicking them when they're down. Cardinals, man, going to Indy -6.5. And I think the bottom line is Danny Jones is good, and everyone knows about the offense. And Connor brought it up a couple weeks ago, but Lou Anarumo leading that Colts defense has just been a nightmare for opposing offenses. I don't think Drew Petzing is a phenomenal game planner, and I think Anarumo and Kyler Murray is infamous for not being a good prep quarterback. So I think Anarumo is going to come out. He's going to scheme up tricky things, similar to like I just said from Mike McDonald, and it's going to cause problems, and it's going to slow down the offense, and then the Colts offense is just going to respond by putting up points. So I am sorry, as we talk about all this, I haven't shared my fancy new game summaries. Yeah, man, I know, right?
Those would have been cool.
Missed opportunities. So we're going to pull it up now so that everyone can see. Here it is. You get offense and defense. You get key statistics that I like to look at, as well as where they rank. Ranks are currently broken calculations. They only show for teams not on a bye, so they're out of 30 instead of out of 32. Anyways, you can see Cardinals offense, not great at anything but running, good on defense, and the Colts, just the best offense in the NFL.
So the big thing with this matchup, and you saw it with Bucky Irving, where they're like, oh, yeah, it's a foot injury, but it's not that bad. The foot injuries are always downplayed because they're not as kind of fancy, shiny, scary, I guess, as like ACL or ankle sprains and stuff. I mean, they really do limit people. And I am super concerned. That's what they're saying about Kyler. And I was like, we're going to monitor his foot. It's like, he might not play. And if he's playing, he's going to be limited in mobility, the thing that he needs. So between that and having injuries to their top two running backs, I'm just concerned for this Eagles offense, even more so than what it had going in. I like Trey McBride, and Marvin Harrison Jr. actually had a decent game last week, but I think it's going to be tough sledding against a team that is just firing on all cylinders right now.
Since it's up on the screen, you guys can see it at the bottom. Browns at Steelers. Ken and I both have a pick on this one, guys. It's the Steelers. I know, as Browns fans, we're terrible people, but at the end of the day, Steelers off a bye, Browns coming from London. Stats show it. Browns offense ain't good, and Steelers have TJ Watt. So, Ken, anything you want to add?
Steelers defense has been pretty bad, actually. I mean, they've definitely looked like they can be beat, but they don't look like they can be beat by the Browns offense right now. As I mentioned before, Dylan Gabriel, awful first matchup against Brian Flores. Going into Pittsburgh from Cleveland is not an ideal second game either. TJ Watt is there. And I mean, I think we'll have to see more of Dylan Gabriel. I think that, it's not just, he's going to get more than 5 completions to his receivers because it's hard to get less than that. But, you're not going to outmanage Aaron Rodgers. Like, I know our defense looks good and he can't move. And, Myles Garrett's really going to try to just have a field day. But, he gets the ball out quick. He uses Browns have a really, really good secondary, good corners, and he doesn't use his receivers that much. He's totally fine, finding other, openings between getting to running backs and tight ends. And that's where the Browns have been a little bit weaker. So I don't think the matchup's great. I don't think having also just fading a rookie on his second start, that's totally fine. And I mean, you're just betting against the Browns in Pittsburgh. It's not a bad bet.
Yeah, like 100% agree with you pretty much on everything. I think this is really, it's a straightforward matchup and schedule loss. Like, Pitt's off a bye. We're flying from London after a tough loss. It's just what it is.
Teams have the option after an international game to take a bye on their way back. And I can't understand why you don't do it. And like for the Browns, you knew you're going to have a QB change this early in the season. Like that bye week early would have been really nice, but instead they deferred it because I don't know why.
Sounds like Cleveland. All right. So we're going to go up to my next pick, and it is Phil's Baker bet of the week. If I'm not betting against him, I'm betting for him. It seems just to be the trend. I think I'm like 2-4 or 2-3, maybe 1-4, maybe 1-3 betting in a Baker game all year. This time, I'm going against my 49ers, and I'm taking the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are in San Francisco, -3. One of our sheets is wrong. I can't know if it's the one I'm looking at on the screen or the one I have in the spreadsheet. But anyways,
no, that's
so
you're good.
Buccaneers
-3 and 47.5. Yep.
Oh yeah, so no, they're both Buccaneers are at home though. Yeah. Anyways, so Buccaneers are at home and they're only a 3-point favorite. Like, the 49ers are crushed. I know they got a little bit more time off. Their defense has been playing well, but it's against the run, and I don't think the Buccaneers care if you take away their running games because they still have Emeka Egbuka to tear up vertically. I don't think the 49ers have an answer for that, and Mac Jones has been fantastic, and Brock Purdy is good, but it's like I don't know if their receivers are going to be healthy. I'm getting this early in the week, so as health comes out, I don't have to worry about it, locking in my price now. It just seems like one of those games where the 49ers have had good luck, good luck, good luck, and it's time for that luck to run out. And who better than to pop it than Mr. Fourth Quarter, Baker Mayfield. I've I've shown the stats in group chats, and if you want to see them, go look them up. Baker splits when he's trailing versus leading a game are night and day. He looks like the Browns quarterback he was when he's winning, but the second they go down, he turns into a prime Aaron Rodgers, whoever you want to call it, and he just shreds and tears apart teams. I think he has like 8 of his 10 touchdowns when they're trailing. So
Yeah.
I'm riding with him for once.
I don't mind the -3, but I feel like you're getting that number based off of, a lot of players didn't play last week. We don't have a lot of information as more come out. Like, say you can get Pearsall, Purdy, and Juwan Jennings back. If you get 2 out of those 3, I think this number goes down a little bit and gets at, away from that, -3 number. If you can get it at like -1.5 later in the week, I think that's more so like the way to go. I could see that movement going on because right now it's a big I don't know. And I'm sorry, like I said, I don't think that people think or sportsbook are like, yep, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, they are equal, they are equivalent. So we'll see what they look like.
Moving on to Thursday night football. Ken, Eagles at Giants. Taking a look at the matchup. Honestly, the Eagles numbers are so bad on offense. It's really shocking. But it comes through if you play fantasy football and you see Jalen Hurts' passing stats. But they're not running the ball well. Defensively, they've been strong. And the Giants have just been, I don't even know, up and down all over the place.
Yep. I
So
think that the Giants defense has been very good, but I just think that the Seagull offense is not going to be as functional. I think that they're going to play this like tough matchup. It's an intra-division opponent, so I could just see it being one of those games where the Eagles are totally fine not scoring. I think they're going to run. I think you're going to see some like 8-minute drives that end in field goals, and I think that Jackson Dart is doing a lot of, hey, I'm not throwing bad picks. I'm not going to lose this game. I'm going to secure the ball at least. So I see a lot of running. I see a lot, the one thing that Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo have in common is they love contact. And, good for Cam Scadaboo, not so much for Jackson Dart. But I think you're going to see a lot of running. I think you're going to see just the clock kind of go down. It's going to be kind of a bit of a boring game. And I just don't know if the Eagles are going to win by 3, 4, or 10. So I'm going to stick with the under.
all right. Yep. Moving on to my next pick. Also going to be an under in a very boring way. Broncos at Jets. Broncos are 7.5 point favorites. The total's 43.5. This is one of the ones where it's like, I don't care what the total is. Sean Payton blows teams out when they're not good. And the Jets are not good at all. They came back. They didn't do anything against the Cowboys. And everyone laughs at the Cowboys and how good their offense is. Well, or how bad their defense is. And the Jets couldn't do anything until it was super garbage time. Like, you're talking 3+ scores down in the fourth quarter, and then they're letting Justin Fields do whatever they want because who cares? They're planning what they're going to eat for dinner that night or what restaurant they're going to go to. Now the Broncos are going to come in. They have a mean defense. They're going to come out and they're going to stop on the Jets every chance they get. And also Sean Payton, back to Sean McVay doesn't win close games. Sean Payton knows how to grind out victories. And when I say that, I don't care if it is the third quarter, the fourth quarter. We saw it last week or 2 weeks ago when they had the big lead and they ground J.K. Dobbins for 100 yards. And then they brought in R.J. Harvey and they put him in and he got another like 80 yards of total offense. It wasn't 60 rushing. I had that bet and it hurt. Anyways, I'm over it now. But they're just going to come out, bleed the clock, play good football, get in and out of New York, take care of business. Again, Broncos offense is underwhelming. I don't care. Jets defense is underwhelming, but like the Broncos offense is also bad. So they're just going to run, ground and pound, finish it off. 7.5, probably. Like, I could see that being a good number, but under 43.5 just seems like the better way to go at 20-3 or whatever happens. Comfortable there.
I just think that Justin Fields is just so good in garbage time. I know what you just said, and yeah, it all sounds very good. But man, Justin Fields might be an all-time good fantasy garbage player. Like, he gets 20 points. I mean, and like 18 of them come in the fourth quarter, and it's not even close. And it's hard to watch. But I don't know. I just think a lot of like volatility with both these offenses. So I definitely don't want to watch the game.
All right, real quick. Blake Bortles or Justin Fields? Fourth quarter, down by 3 touchdowns. Who do you want?
Down by 3?
You're down by 3 touchdowns. You got Justin Fields or Blake Bortles?
It depends. Am I playing football or fantasy?
Fantasy.
Justin Fields, for sure.
Get those rushing yards.
Get those rushing yards. Exactly.
All right, cool. So we'll head over to your next pick. Now, this is an interesting one because it's the game that I think would be perfect to DFS stack and go get all the receivers from. But you have the under. You have Chargers at Dolphins. Chargers are 4.5-point favorites. And you have the under at 45.5.
So the Dolphins defense looks bad, but I think that this Chargers offense is just not in a period where they're going to bounce back just yet. I think that these injuries to the tackles are a little worse than you'd seen, and I don't think that they want Herbert rushing the ball, 12 times. It looks all right, but he has an injury history, and he got beat up a little bit in the last game here. Between that, and I just think that we always talk about where Omarion Hampton started to look okay. He had a few bigger runs, but I mean he was still, to me, not looking like anything special. My buddy Danny he wants to trade for him in another league. I already gave him in one league. He wants him from me in another league too, even though he's hurt. But I said sure. Kimani Vidal he got cut and he was on practice squad. He didn't go anywhere because nobody else wants him. And Hassan Haskins, I think, is one of those good, all reliable, like a less explosive Gus Edwards. Yes, you heard that right. A less explosive Gus Edwards. I think that they need help at running back if they're gonna, make a real run. But I think that just with those gaps, yes, I love their receiving core. I absolutely think it's a really good setup. I think that you need more than that. But a combination of that, and I think that this Chargers defense is just in a whole nother league than the Dolphins offense. I think you're going to see a lot of 5 to 7 yard passes and punts from the Dolphins. I mean, if anything, I could see this game being like 30-10. I don't think the Dolphins are going to score a lot this game. A little bit against their offense, a little bit of this Chargers offense is just not where it was when.
So the reason I don't have a bet on it, but the reason I like it for like the upside of an over or an upside of like a shootout game is because I want Ladd McConkey to be good at football. I really do. And I want Jalen Waddle to be good at football. I think they're really good players. I think their teams need to utilize them more. And they are two guys, I think they have good matchups in this game that they could take advantage of. Darren Waller is apparently good at football. I didn't know that one. Like him and Keenan Allen, I thought both big tight ends that are going to catch a few passes here and there. But no, they both are looking spry and making big plays. So I just see this as one of the games where I don't know if Mike McDaniel's a good coach, but he can definitely scheme up a couple good quarters. We saw it against Carolina. And so I'm hoping he does the same here and you just get a nice shootout type of game.
So real quick, I got a list here of the teams that are like most like riddled with injuries. Number 1, I had San Francisco, and they're 4-1. Number 2 is Tampa Bay, actually. And, we've talked about them enough. Then numbers 3, 4, and 5 are the Chargers, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I don't really know if they're super injured, but the most important player is injured. So there are just some teams that bounce back and can, still play a competitive game with injuries. And I think a lot of that has to do more so with coaching and just that sort of that winning atmosphere, that winning just history and habit with the team. I don't think the Chargers have that. I think it happens every year. The Chargers get hurt and then they just look bad and they struggle through and then they start to look better down the road. But it happens to them. Baltimore, same thing. And it's a little different. When Lamar gets hurt, it looks really bad out there because your whole team was based off of a running quarterback that now is not playing at an MVP level. So I find it interesting that different teams play differently with injuries, but I don't believe in the Chargers when they're hurt.
That's fair. I believe in them way too much. I love them. They're one of my favorites. All right. So we've somehow hit most of my picks, but not many of yours. So we're going to double up and you're going to get another one. Let's head over to the one that I laugh at. You have the Raiders -4.5 as your pick. Like, they have been atrocious. Geno Smith has been, he is proving, he's making Shane Waldron look good, according to people on Twitter. And man, I wish Connor was here to scream at anyone who thought Shane Waldron is the solution in Jacksonville. Here are the numbers. Like, just they're even inflated by garbage time that Geno Smith has put up against, though, the Titans, league worst offense, bad defense. So why do you have the Raiders?
No, the better question is, why did I think the Titans are not going to win again? And it's because they took all of their crap good luck and won last week. I think that the Titans, I mean, it was the first game where Calvin Ridley even looked like resembled a little bit of number one receiver, but I just don't. I think this Titans team is the worst team in the NFL. I think that the Raiders at least have enough stuff. I mean, Geno Smith, he has to just not have a horrible game, and he's had quite a few of those in a row. But I do think that that offense for the Titans is that bad. I think that their defense, their special teams, like, they just mess up and make big plays. No, this is one where you get over the hangover of winning that one game that you're going to win this year for the Titans, and I just don't see them coming out good. That's it. That's it. I'm not going to say much about the Raiders besides I like their playmakers a little bit more on their offense. If Brock Bowers gets back out there, then it does make a difference. But their defense has been decent against the run, and the Titans, when you have a rookie quarterback and you're not going to be able to run the ball, I don't see anything else happening.
I'd love to continue talking about that game, but we've talked about it too much as is. Like, that's not.
You would not love to talk about that game.
That game does not deserve our time. Moving on to my next pick, Bills at Falcons. So I'm taking the over in this one, 48.5. We never take overs on this show, except for one other game we're going to be taking this week. But I think the Bills I'm buying into the fact that Drake May looked so good against the Bills, and I'm buying into the Falcons off of a bye, realizing how to run their offense a little bit better. I know they want to run the ball, but they still got pop and playmakers in Darnell Mooney and Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Bijan Robinson obviously can take any play to the house for 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown, whatever it is. And then the Bills, I think they come out angry. Like, I think Bills 30-plus points coming to just blow through the Falcons. The Falcons apparently are number one in yards per pass. Sometimes I got to check ChatGPT. Maybe it's calculating this wrong. I don't know. But yards per attempt is terrible. And that is how the Bills move the ball. They want James Cook to, have big plays, and they want Josh Allen to, maybe tuck it on a pass or run a QB keeper every now and then. I just see both of these teams putting up points and looking good while they do it.
Falcons have just looked so bad sometimes. So, I mean, Michael Penix sometimes just looks awful. So I'd hate to see that game come out, but teams usually put up some points against the Bills. We'll see.
Yeah. So I will say this is part one of a 2-part Monday Night Football doubleheader. So if it's not a good game, you can always flip over to Bears Commanders.
I don't like the doubleheaders. I'm not a fan.
They sucked last time when it was Bengals Broncos and Dolphins Jets. Yeah, neither of those games should have been on your TV. But now we're going to scroll way up to your Rams at Ravens, because you have the over here. And these numbers obviously don't make any sense for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson isn't playing, and that's who's informed all of these.
So this is pretty simple. The The Ravens defense is one of the most injured and worst groups out in the NFL right now. The Rams offense is not going to have any issues moving the ball. I could absolutely see this being a blowout, but also Cooper Rush every once in a while put up, some decent games and, some decent points. I could see him, the Rams have kept people around. So I think there's going to be plenty of scoring in this one.
Yeah. So I do think the Rams are a team that takes their foot off the gas. I also know that they're a team that likes to stop and win, like they get up by 2 scores and then coast. So I'm curious
Yeah,
on
but
if they can push the envelope.
the Texans couldn't score at all on anyone. And then they scored 40 something on them. Like, I think that this Ravens defense is that bad. And they just traded away their only pass rusher. So I'm not sure what they're doing.
Making opportunities for new players, Ken. That's what they're doing. All right, my next pick, I have Dallas -3.5 at Carolina. So Carolina just won a game that it was bad. They were down 17-0. They fought, they came back, and they relied on their running game to come back. Rico Dowdle was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but he just ran right through the Dolphins. While the Cowboys are bad defensively, I don't think they're that bad defensively. On the other side, the Cowboys offense has been way better than I thought it would be once CeeDee Lamb went down. I didn't think Javonte Williams was going to be able to look like a real running back again after the poor performance he put out last year. And he is coming. He is strong. He is fast. He is playing hard. He is the running back that Denver thought that they were getting. So congratulations to him. And Dak, he is shredding it without his number 1 wide receiver. George Pickens is making plays, scoring a touchdown, it seems like every week. And then random guys, Flournoy, I don't know his first name, like Jacob maybe, off the practice squad, comes out, puts up 100 yards. Jalen Tolbert, he's had a couple moments, and then I think 2 weeks ago
Not
against
last
the
week.
Packers.
Let me tell you, when I started him in fantasy, he did not have any moments.
But Kevontae Turbin was another guy who's like a specialist, kind of trick play kind of dude. Reminds me of, I can't remember, the West Virginia guy. Tavon Austin is what Kevontae Turpin reminds me of. Just this little jack of all trades. Came out against the Packers. He had 30 or 40 yards on key drives, just showing up at the right times. They're pushing all the right buttons. So I think they come out, and the Panthers aren't good. We went through that checklist earlier of who are the Cowboys better than? Yeah, they're better than the Panthers. So I think they come out, they take care of business in Carolina, and Carolina doesn't get lucky like they did against the Falcons or against the Dolphins, and it's just a big L for them.
You can't go down 17 against the Cowboys, that's for sure.
All right. Talking about teams you can go down, or that will let you go up 17. Your last pick, Bengals at Packers. So Joe Flacco is taking a trip to Cincinnati and then out to Green Bay, and you're betting against him, former Browns QB.
So Phil seems to not think it's a big deal that the Packers have already played against Joe Flacco, also lost to Joe Flacco. Not because of Joe Flacco that game, but brand new with the Bengals. They have a worse offensive line. I didn't think it was possible to go somewhere with a worse offensive line than what Cleveland had out there. But he cannot move in the pocket. Michael Parsons is there, and the Packers are coming off of a bye week. I think that this is just a setup for a brutal, absolutely brutal, just start. And it's one of those things that even if they score 20 points, I could see the Packers scoring, what is that? I don't know, 40, 45. I think that anything the Packers want to do, they're going to be able to do. And I think that, they're, especially after their 40-point tie with the Cowboys, it's going to be an emphasis of, hey, we're not taking the foot off the gas after the bye. This is the perfect warm up to your post bye season. No, I mean, Sorry, Flacco. This is not a good place to start.
This is Alabama's Citadel game on week 10.
Yes.
Getting into the Auburn and SEC championship game. Like, congratulations.
Alabama State. Oh, that was pissed me off. Yeah.
The taco bye in terms of the league. So I think Packers off a bye are just going to come in, and I'm with you that if I had to make a pick, it'd be Packers minus 17 plus, but I'm just not doing it because it's like one of those things. I've seen the Packers flop. I think they don't. I have the Packers defense in fantasy because of this game specifically, because of this matchup. So we'll see, but it's just hard for me to trust them after they cut me deep, Shrek. They cut me real deep. So 3 games we did not talk about, and I apologize for scrolling. We're going to get better at implementing this spreadsheet thing so that, we just click and it goes through the games in order. I can't even find. Here we go. Patriots at Saints. This is one we didn't talk about. Personally, I got nothing more to say than like Vrabel just came off a huge win. I could see him having a huge loss. Like that is Mike Vrabel, 4+ point underdogs. That guy's coming out. He's scheming great. He's going to hit you in the mouth. He's going to outsmart you, and his team's going to play tough and physical. The Patriots flew around the field on defense. Guess what? The contrary to that is they don't show up when it's easy. So this is in the game that they might overlook. 3.5, just too much for me on the road after a huge win.
The Saints also just had their only win of the year last week. So tough to say. It just could be an ugly one. I don't know. So I'm staying away.
All right. And now the game of the week. The bottom line is I think Ken and I are too nervous to make a pick on this one. So Lions at Chiefs. Ken, you got to make a pick. It won't be held against you.
I can't believe we didn't even talk about it, man. This is the game of the week. This is the Chiefs. I just don't think they can go down 2-4. I just don't think it's like possible. But the Lions have been good. I mean, you take away that Packers first week 1, whatever it was, and no, I mean, they haven't missed a beat. And Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are looking that great. And they're coming off this game where Jacksonville looked decent against the Chiefs. I don't quite care about any of that. I'd like to pick the Chiefs. Just -2.5's tough. Just with my guess on this one, I think this is going to be similar to or the Ravens game, more like a Ravens Chiefs, where it's like a faster pace. I would go the over, if anything.
So that's a good cop out of picking against the 2 good teams. I like it. So my thought is I can't ever bet against the Chiefs. It just can't, even though it would have made so many sense so many times. I think the way to go here, though, is Lions +2.5. I think the Chiefs are currently overvalued, thinking that their offense is turning around, which it is. And it is looking way better than it has previously. But the defense isn't holding up its side of the bargain. Chris Jones looks like he's hobbled. There's the Twitter clip going around of Chris Jones not moving on the game-winning Trevor Lawrence touchdown, watching him run into the end zone in embarrassing fashion. And I think Pro Football Doc came on. He's like, yeah, dude, that's what happens when you have a hamstring injury. He's like, he had his goal of stopping him up the middle, and he did that. And then he just watched him run. He's like, I ain't catching him. Not even going to try. So losing the best interior defender for the Chiefs is huge. I think the offense is good. It has pop. It's looking fantastic. Rashee Rice coming back is going to take it to another level next week, right? Because there'll be week 7 for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a bye or not. But anyways, once they get him back, I think this offense is going to start to look like we're going to start to see the Chiefs of the Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt rookie Kareem Hunt days, where they are just blasting full speed against everyone. I will say a sneaky good bet, in my opinion, will be Patrick Mahomes wins MVP once they're 2-4, which again, projecting that the Lions win this upcoming week, because the Lions they've just looked really good. That's the bottom line. They've wanted to do, they just do everything they've wanted to do. They haven't had a lot of, what's it called? Tough opponents, people that have hit them in the mouth, except for like the Packers in week 1. But since then, they've answered the call and have been great up front on defense, good and great on offense, and then good in the secondary. So,
how do you feel about the Lions going outside visiting to Kansas City, though.
I always
I
the
know.
Jared Goff effect of him being, left-handed essentially.
I hate that it's such a big deal, but it just has been. I don't know.
You have the over, so I trust that he'll be fine. All right, last game, we didn't talk about it. So this was honestly one of my picks, and I was excited for it. Bears plus 4.5. Are you kidding me? Like they won last year. This game's going to be close. I think the Commanders are overrated. I think their offense is heavily dependent on some good scheme, a good run game, but like they're not well polished. They don't have good receivers at the moment. Debo's playing great, don't get me wrong, but the core as a whole isn't good. And the Bears are off a bye. Ben Johnson, some creativity coming in. I like the whole thing. And then all I saw is the Bears allow 6.2 yards per carry. It is by far the worst in the league. Ashton Jonty stomped them, and I can't even remember, like, Javonte Williams stomped them. Yeah, like, it's just been bad for them. And guess what? The Commanders are the number one rush team in the league. So I'll be following up my Bill Krosky merit bets this week and slamming him to have a big Monday night. But I won't be taking a pick in this game because I could see it going either way.
I find it so hard to bet on the Bears. I don't know. Like, I don't care. Williams looks better, but like he still just leaves a lot like to be desired. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just find it hard to do that. Jake Daniels is coming back. He was hobbled. He was still, limited in his rushing. I don't know. Interesting game. I'm happy it's the later one on Monday night, so obviously.
It starts at 8, Ken. Come on.
I'll watch the first half.
All right, Ken. I introduced you as Doctor. We said we could do this to make you happy. We talked about this before the show. Honestly, we should have been recording then. If you're good, we can hang up now and talk about it next week because it's still going to be a problem when more people pop their hammies next week. We can tease it now.
Let's do it next week.
All right. So everyone, teasing it now. Next week, we will be talking about why the heck basketball and football, particularly because those are what I care about. Sorry, not a baseball and hockey fan. Why are players coming out and getting injured more frequently than they have in years past? Why can't they do a full season? Like, I think I saw a stat that was like 14 of the top 48 picks in fantasy are all hurt and are have been on hurt or on IR recently. So we will be breaking that down with Ken's expert opinion. So interesting
Next week,
stuff. Nerd doctor stuff. Then we'll have a week with me where we just talk about statistics and why they piss me off.
There you go.
Why I only showed efficiency statistics instead of like raw yards and points and stuff like that. Points per drive. Who the hell tracks that one? All right. Thank you for listening. JJ Watt card giveaway. We have been on too long. I appreciate whoever has made it this far. Grateful for all our listeners. I got